Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi yassir wa la tuassir wa tammim bil khair. السؤال الثاني. Question number 2. ضع هذه العلامة أمام الجمل الصحيحة وهذه العلامة أمام الجمل غير الصحيحة. So we have to put the check sign in front of the sentences that are correct, and we have to put the X sign in front of the sentences that are incorrect. There, as we know, this is fi'l al-amr, and after fi'l al-amr, the noun is always mansoob, as we can see over here. Hadihi is a fixed noun, so the ending is not visible. However, we will say that this is also mansoob. Amam is used as special mudaf. That's why the noun that comes after it will always be majroor, because it will be mudaf ilayh. Al-jumal is mawsuf, as-sahiha is the sifa, and the same goes over here. Fataha aliyunil fasla. Now we can see that this is aliyun, and after that we have al. So what we have to do, in modern standard Arabic it's okay, but in the Quran we have to read it like this, if we have the verse of the Quran, of course. So it will be Fataha aliyunil fasla. Ali opened the classroom. Yes. Is this true? Is this sahih or غير sahih? Does anyone remember? هذا غير صحيح, right? This is incorrect. Then the next one is ما رجع زكريا وحمزة وعثمان من مكة. Hamza, Zakaria, and Uthman did not return from Mecca. Yes, what about this one? Sahih or غير sahih? This one is sahih. All right. Ma kataba Faisalun, and again it will be Faisalunil ajwibata. Faisal did not write the answers. لأنه ما فهم الأسئلة, because he did not understand the questions. Yes, what about number 3? Correct or incorrect? Okay, it's sahih, correct. Okay. Again, ma kataba Faisalunil ajwibata. Faisal did not write the answers. لأن قلمه مكسور, because his pen is broken. Okay, what about this one? غير صحيح. Okay, he never mentioned about the pen, that his pen is broken. It was something like he did not understand the lesson. تأمل الأمثلة الآتية. Reflect on the following examples. Al-Qur'anu is marfu', and when you use it in a verbal sentence, so we know that verbal sentence starts with a verb. So qara'a will be the verb, and at-talibu will be the subject, and al-Qur'ana will be the object. And we know that the object is always mansoob. So that's what we have to reflect, that it's a verbal sentence, and verbal sentence starts with the verb, and then it has a doer, and then sometimes it has an object. It's not necessary that it should have object all the time, but in most of the cases there is object as well. So whenever we have the object, al-maf'ul bihi, the object is always mansoob. Similarly, al-qahwatu, coffee. So you say sharib al-dayfu al-qahwata, the guest drank coffee. So we can see here that shariba is the past tense. So this is the verb. Daif is the subject, and al-kahwata is the object. Similarly, ad-darsu, katab al-mudarrisu ad-darsa, the teacher wrote the lesson. So al-mudarrisu is the subject, and ad-darsa is the object, and kataba is the verb. And similarly, al-babu, fatahat aminatul baba, Amina opened the door. And we know that if the verbal sentence for the feminine, it starts with the fourth form of the verb, which is fatahat. When the doer is apparent, then we have to use fatahat, dhahabat, nasarat, qara'at. And when the doer is masculine, then we have to use the first form of the verb, which is qara'a, shariba, and kataba. Qara'a al-fi'lu, al-talibu, al-fa'ilu, wal-Qur'anu, al-maf'ulu bihi. So here we can see that qara'a is the verb, and Al-Talibu is the subject and Al-Quran is maf'ul bihi, that is the object. And please remember, this is called direct object. Al-maf'ul bihi, yani direct object. And then we will inshallah learn about the different forms of the object. And this one, the one that we have learned over here, is called the direct object. Ayyin, again, this is fi'l al-amr. Ayyin al-fa'ila. Now you have to specify that the subject, wal maf'ula bihi, and the object, fil jumal al-atiyati, in the following sentences. That means put, khattan wahidan, one line, تحت الفاعل, under the doer, وخطين, and two lines, تحت المفعول به, under the object. واشكل آخرة كلا منهما, and then we have to put the case endings for all of them. Shakala yashkulu, and when we make it fi'l al-amr, then we know that this hamza is hamzatul wasl. That's why when we read it, when we correct it, we will not read it. Washkul akhara kullin minhuma. Sorry, this should be kullin because akhar is mudaf and kullin is mudaf ilayh. All right, so what we have to do, for the file, we have to put one line under it, and for the maf'ul bihi, we have to put two lines under it. However, most importantly, what we have to do, we have to make sure that we put the proper case endings for the subject and the object. And when we know the case endings, and then there is no need to put the lines, right? Okay, so what should be the ending of tifl and what should be the ending of al-qalam? Yes, kasara tiflu al-qalama. Excellent. So al-tifl is the subject and al-qalam is the object. So the first one I will do it for you, and the rest inshallah we will focus more on the case endings. So we can see that kasara is the verb, al-tiflu is the subject, and al-qalama is the object. And we know that the subject is marfu' and the object is mansub. Ghasalat, yes please, the ending of Amina and al-mindil. Ahsant. So we will say ghasalat Aminatul mindil. Amina al-mindila. So we will say Amina washed the handkerchief. Ghasalat is the verb, Amina is the subject, and al-mindil is the object. So we are not okay. Well, Akala, yes, Usama too. So because we know Usama is mamnu min as-sarf, similarly Amina is also mamnu min as-sarf. Akala Usama tu al-inaba. Usama ate grapes. Wa akalat zawja. Okay, what should be the ending of zawja? Please tell me quickly. Wa akalat zawja tuhu. Zawja tuhu al-mawza. And his wife ate a banana. Now we can see that akala, because the doer is masculine, so we will use akala. And when the doer is feminine, then we will use akalat. Akala Usamatul Inaba wa akalat zawjatuhu al-mawza. Usama ate grape or the grapes, and his wife ate the banana. Sharibatil Baqara. Yes, what should be the ending of Baqara? It will be al-Baqaratu. And what will be the ending of al-Ma? It will be al-Ma'a. Okay. Sharibatil Baqaratu al-Ma'a. And the cow drank water. Hafidha Hamza. Yet what should be the ending of Hamza? Hamzatu. And what will be the ending of Al-Quran? Al-Qur'ana. Excellent. Hafidha Hamzatul Qur'ana. Hamza memorized the Quran. All right, mashallah. Darabat Fatima. Okay, please give me the ending of Fatima and also the ending of Bint. Okay, Fatima too. And what will be the ending of Bint? It will be bin. It will be bintaha, right? Bintaha. Darabat is the verb, right? Fatima is the subject, and the object has to be mansub. So it will be bintaha, her daughter. Fatima hit her daughter. Qatala rajul al-hayya. Okay, so it will be qatala rajulu, the man killed al-hayyata, the snake, bil hajari, with the stick. The man killed the snake with the stick. Okay, Samia Bilal. Okay, what should be the ending of Bilal? Samia Bilalun. And when we connect it, we will connect it with Noon Qutni. Bilalunil Adha Na. Adhana. Wa dhahaba ila al-masjidi. And he went to the masjid. So Bilal heard the adhan and he went to the masjid. كتب المدرس, the teacher wrote الدرس, the lesson, على السبورة, on the board. The teacher wrote the lesson on the board. Now we can see that all of the sentences are starting with the verb. Either it is the first form of the verb when it is masculine, or it is the fourth form of the verb when it is feminine. I mean, when the doer is the feminine. Oh, sorry. Hajar is the stone. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, Hajar with the stone. All right. Thank you very much. The next one is so if it is the stick, it should be bil asa. Okay, bil asa. All right. Then we have fatah al baqqal. Okay, what should be the ending of baqqal? فتح البقال الدكان. Right. في الساعة الثامنة, the grocer opened the shop at 8 o'clock. Baqqal is the grocer. All right, so next one is akmil. Okay, this is a very special fi'l al-amr, and this is the only special fi'l al-amr in Arabic language that starts with fatha. Fi'l al-amr either starts with dhamma or kasra, and this is the only, you can say, exception in the Arabic language where fi'l al-amr starts with fatha. So this is the only thing that you need to know as of now, and inshallah when we proceed further and when we start learning the verbs, then we will come to know more about it. أكمل الجمل الآتية, complete the following sentences. بكلمات مناسبة, with the proper sentences. وضبطها, and put the proper case endings بالشكل, with the proper construction, so, or the proper form. Shakl is the form. So what we have to do, we have to put the proper case endings, and then we have to put the proper forms as well, make the proper form of the verb as well, or the noun. Yes, the first one is fill in the blanks with suitable words and vocalize yani وضبطها, their last letters بشكل. Yes. من فتح. Yes, now you can answer anything. For example, you can say من فتح الباب, من فتح النوافذ, من فتح النافذة. So it can be anything, right? So you can put the the noun over here. So in case we have here al-baba, so in fataha, now we will say that the verb and the subject are both here, and the subject is inbuilt, right? The subject is inbuilt, and al-baba is maf'ul bihi. غسلت أختي, my sister washed. Al-qamisa, al-thawba, whatever it is. Now it's up to you, whatever you want to put over here. For example, al-qamisa, my sister washed the shirt. Okay, here we have الرجل الحية بالعصا. So we will say قتل الرجل الحية بالعصا. The man killed the snake with the stick. So there is a possibility that I had this in my mind. That's why by that time I translated as the stick. So that was the stone, and here we have the stick. Okay, Yusufu al-qahwata. So we will say shariba, right? Shariba Yusuf al-qahwata. Yusuf drank coffee. Then the next one is katab al-mudarrisu. Now you can put over there Y mark into question mark, you mean, right? Yeah, so there shouldn't be man fatah al-baba. That's a question, right? Yeah, man fatah al-baba. So it should be ghasalat, so you can make it a question, not a problem. Ghasalat ukhti al-qamisa. Did my sister wash the shirt? And man fatah al-baba, that's a question mark. Yeah, so here we can have hamzatul istifham, or we can also have hal. Both of them are possible, and both of the possibilities are there. Thank you very much. Next is number 5, katab al-mudarrisu ala saburati. So we can say katab al-mudarrisu ad-darsa, or we can say al-kalimata, the word on the board. So it's anything that you can put over here. Al-kalimata aw ad-darsa ala saburati. The teacher wrote the word on the board. Su'adul khubza. Okay, so Su'ad ate, we can say. Su'ad ate the bread. So we can say akalat, yeah. Akalat Suad al-Khubza. Suad, like ate the bread. Then the next one you say qara'tu. Now you can put anything over here. Qara'tu al-kitaba. Qara'tu al-Qur'ana. Right? So qara'tu al-mujallata. So whatever you read, but you have to make sure that the mansub is always the maf'ul is always, the object is always mansub. And we know in qara'tu, uh, tu is the subject and qara'a is the verb. And we have learned that if we don't have from number 1 and if we don't have from number 4 of the verb, then after that, if we don't have both of them, then the noun will always be mansub after any form of the verb. The next is al-adhana ya hamzatu. So you're talking to Hamza, so you will say as-sami'ta al-adhana ya hamzatu. Did you hear the adhan, O Hamza? So now here in sami'ta, ta is the subject and samia is the verb. Okay. At-tajiru ad-dukkana. So we will say fataha at-tajiru ad-dukkana. The merchant opened the shop. At-tullabu min al-fasli. So we will say kharajat tullabu min al-fasli. The students went out of the classroom. So we have at-tullab, and we have learned previously that when the subject is, the doer is apparent, it is visible, it is outside, whether it is singular or dual or the plural, the verb that we have to use is only for the singular. Ij'al, make kullan min al-kalimat al-atiyati, each of the following words, maf'ulan bihi, the object, wadbit akhiraha, and then put the proper case endings. So now you have to make al-Qur'anu, you have to make it object. So how will you make it as an object? You can say qara'tu al-Qur'ana, right? So you will say qara'tu al-Qur'ana, I recited the Qur'an. Now you can use the verbs that you have. For example, ishtaraytu al-Qur'ana, I bought the Qur'an. Similarly, you say sami'tu al-Qur'ana, I listened to the Quran, or I heard Quran. So now it's up to you. Whatever the verbs you know, inshallah, from here you can make the sentences. Tufahu, so you want to say and the boy ate the apple, so you will say akal al-walad al-tufaha, or you can also say akaltu at-tufaha, or akilat al-bintu at-tufaha. Now it's up to you. You can make as many sentences as you want to. And the only thing that we have to make sure that we use these words as the object. Ad-darsu. So you want to say, I read the lesson. So you will say, qara'tu ad-darsa. And if you want to ask your friend, did you understand the lesson? So you will say, afahimta ad-darsa. Did you understand the lesson? Afahimtum ad-darsa. Did you all understand the lesson? And you will say, bala. Al-qahwatu, coffee. And yes, you will say sharibtul qahwata, very good, I drank coffee. And if you say didn't you drink coffee, so you will say ama sharibtul qahwata, didn't you drink coffee? So it's up to you. You can make sentences according to your choice. Al babu, the door. You can say fatahtu al baba, I opened the door. Or you can also say man fatah al baba, who opened the door. And then we have al qamisu, the shirt. And you can say, my mother washed the shirt. So you will say, ghasalat ummi al-qamisa. My mother washed the shirt. So again, you can say, ghasaltu al-qamisa. I washed the shirt. Labistu al-qamisa. I wore the shirt. So it's up to you now. If you know the verbs, inshallah, you can make the past tense, and then you can make the sentences like this. Now it's up to you to practice. The more you practice, inshallah, the more you will learn the verbs and the Arabic language. تأمل المثالين الآتيين. Reflect on the following examples. تأمل is fi'l al-amr again, and whenever we have fi'l al-amr, then the noun that comes after that will always be mansub. Now how mithalaini is mansub? Because mithalaini, the case ending comes with the long vowels, yani ani, aini, aini. So you say mithalani, mithalaini, mithalaini. And similarly, we have atiyani and the dual of atiyani will be atiyani, atiyani. Reflect on the following examples, and both of them are mansub. Why they are mansub? Because fi'l al-amr command is always in command. We always have the verb, and always we have the subject. Each command consists of a doer, isn't it? Every command consists of the doer. So whenever you make a command, you have to make sure that the noun after that is mansub. Now it is mansub over here because it is dual, and the dual is mansub with ani, aini, aini. However, the only exception is for the command, the only exception is qul. Inshallah, we will learn more about it in detail when we proceed further into the course. After qul, it's not necessary that the noun has to be mansub. That's the only exception in Arabic language. The rest, all of the verbs that we have after the command, the noun has to be mansub. Okay, now what do we have over here? At-tullabu dhahabu ila al-mal'abi. The students went to the playground. Now this is a nominal sentence. Nominal sentence consists of subject and predicate, right? And we know subject and predicate are equal in number and gender. And the easiest thing I told you in the previous lesson, that the verb has to follow the noun. If the noun is dual, the verb will be dual. So that's why at-tullabu dhahabu ila al-mal'abi. The students went to the playground, and at-talibatu dhahabna ila al-maktabati. The feminine students went to the library. So the verb has to follow the noun. So the noun is at-talibatu, and the verb has to be dhahabna. And both of these are nominal sentences. And nominal sentence consists of subject and predicate. And we know subject and predicate are equal in number and gender. But when we talk about the verbal sentence either it starts with dhahaba or it starts with dhahabat. And why do we say dhahaba is from number 1 and dhahabat is from number 4 of the verb, right? And if the doer is masculine, then the sentence will always start with dhahaba. And if the doer is feminine, then it will always start with dhahabat. I mean, the verb can be any of the verbs, but the form will be the same. So dhahabat tullabu ila al-mal'abi. The students went to the playground, and dhahabat at-talibatu ila al-maktabati. The feminine students went to the library. Now we will reflect a little bit more on that. I explained it all in detail, inshallah, yesterday in the previous lesson. So we can see over here, I want you to see the difference between the nominal sentence and the verbal sentence. As I mentioned earlier, in nominal sentence, the verb has to follow the noun. What does that mean? If the noun is single, the verb has to be single. What if the noun is dual? For example, we say at-talibani. So if the noun is dual, then the verb has to be dual as well. So we will say at-talibanu dhahaba. And if there are more than 2 students, at-tullabu, so we will say at-tullabu dhahabu, right? So now we can see here that the verb is following the noun. Here the noun is single, and here the verb is single. Here the noun is dual and the verb is dual. And here the noun is plural and the verb is plural. However, when we talk about the verbal sentence, in verbal sentence, it will always start with dhahaba at-talibu. And even if we have 2 students, we will still say dhahaba at-talibanu and ani aini talibani, right? I was thinking there is something wrong. So dhahaba at-talibani, and then we will have, and also here, okay, Taliban, what should be the ending? Ani, Talibani, Talibaini, Ani, Aini, Aini, right? Yeah. And then we have dhahabat tullabu, the students went. So we see if whether the doer is single or the dual or the plural, the verb that we have to use has to be only for the single. And the same goes with the feminine. If we talk about the feminine, if we have the singular feminine, we will say at-talibatu dhahabat. And if we have 2, we will say at-talibatani dhahabata. And if we have more than 2, we will say at-talibatu dhahabna. Now we can see that the verb is following the noun. And when it's a verbal sentence, in verbal sentence, we will only use dhahabat. Doesn't matter if the doer is singular or the doer is dual, or the doer is plural. In either case, we have to only use dhahabat. So we will say dhahabat talibatu when you connect it, and similarly dhahabat talibatani, and similarly dhahabat talibatu. So alhamdulillah, now we have seen the comparison between Jumlatul Ismiya and Jumlatul Fi'liya, and also we have seen how to use the verb in these two sentences, and it's very simple. In Jumlatul Ismiya, nominal sentence, the verb should be according to the noun, and in the verbal sentence, if the doer is masculine, then it will start with the form number 1 of the verb, and if the doer is feminine, then the sentence will start with form number 4 of the verb. So alhamdulillah, half of the exercises are finished, and inshallah when we meet again, we will complete the rest of the exercises. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.